Thousands of marijuana plants were uprooted. National test scores were revealed, and the Attorney General moves to clarify comments she made last week regarding her family's business ties to Bahamar. We've got those stories and a whole lot more. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and welcome to the Tribune's Top 5. Drug Enforcement Unit officials were in Abaco this week following the discovery of 4,000 marijuana plants.
Authorities uprooted the plants after officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit discovered 3 large marijuana fields in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Officer in charge of the Drug Enforcement Unit, Superintendent Samuel Butler, said the huge discovery, which is one of the biggest for the year, was made near the southern end of Marsh Harbor. According to police reports, shortly after 2 p.m., Bahamian police with officers from Operation Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, or OPBAT, were on routine patrol when they discovered 3 large marijuana fields in the pine forest. The marijuana plants, which range from 6 inches to 6 feet in height, were all uprooted. No arrest was made in this incident, but investigations are continuing. This discovery came about 2 weeks after DEU officers with other law enforcement officials discovered several plots of suspected marijuana plants in Grand Bahama. Police said 5,860 of the suspected marijuana plants, with an estimated street value of $500,000, were found in the incident. Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner has urged Prime Minister Perry Christie to make his cabinet ministers retract their what she called extremist statements against Bahamar developer Sarkis Ismailian, or they should resign. The MP said the revelation that Mr. Christie did not sanction comments made last week by Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell and Minister of Labor Shane Gibson indicated that the nation's leader was not respected and too weak to rein in his out-of-control cabinet. In a statement, she said it was nonsensical for Mr. Christie to suggest that the senior ministers were speaking in their personal capacity on such a high-profile issue. She added that their actions demonstrated his party's contempt for the country's system of governance. Mr. Mitchell has repeatedly chastised Mr. Ismailian, both locally and internationally, over the resort's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing and what he termed as numerous attacks on Mr. Christie's handling of the Bahamar debacle. Last week, Mr. Mitchell warned the developer that his permanent residency status could be revoked and suggests that Mr. Ismailian consider living elsewhere if he could not conform to the expected conduct of economic guests. Mr. Gibson has defended Mr. Mitchell's warning and suggested that the government should now begin performing psychological evaluations on all foreign developers seeking to do business in this country.
Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald this week released the BGCSE mathematics and English scores, which have made very little improvements from last year's dismal performance.
Minister Fitzgerald on Tuesday insisted he was encouraged by this year's Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education exam results, despite an E average in mathematics and an English average of C+. This year's Bahamas Junior Certificate results were similar, with the average grade in English decreasing from C- last year to D- this year. The average mathematics score for the BJC exam was E+, down from the average of D+ in 2014. However, Mr. Fitzgerald praised this year's results, saying when compared to 2014, the number of candidates achieving grades A to C in 5 or more BJC subjects increased by 6.07%. In addition, he said this year the largest number of A to D grades was awarded compared to the last 5 years. This is due to a higher volume of participants sitting this year's BJC examinations because of new graduation criteria for 9th grade students. The results were officially released during a press conference at the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. At the BJCSE level, 11 subjects showed an improvement in mean letter grade, including Art and Design A, which rose from C- to C. Art and Design B rose from C+ to B-. Art and Design C rose from C- to C+. Other mean grade improvements were Biology from D- to D, Economics rose from D+ to C, Geography rose from C to C+, History rose from D+ to C-, Combined Science from D+ to C-, Electrical Installation rose from C- to C+, Clothing Construction rose from D+ to C, Carpentry and Joinery rose from C- to C, and French rose from C- to C. On the heels of 4 murders in 5 days, Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis said hanging must be enforced in the country. The 95th murder for the year happened at Gamble Heights, where a man was fatally shot by police on Friday morning. It happened the day after a 23-year-old man on bail and being electronically monitored was shot multiple times and killed in the early morning hours. Officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Paul Rule, said police are concerned about the rise in homicides, but insisted that Nassau is safe. He appealed to members of the public to utilize the police force instead of taking matters into their own hands. Chief Superintendent Rule said one of the murder victims was standing under a tree on Burial Ground Corner when he was approached by two men shortly before 8 a.m. Police have not officially identified the victim, but the Tribune understands he is Arlington Butler Jr. He was on bail for armed robbery, possession of an unlicensed firearm, and ammunition possession at the time of his death. Butler's father, Arlington Lynx Butler, Sr., 44, and brother Kentley Milford, 24, were murdered in two separate incidents last year. This time last year, the murder count stood at 76. Given the country's crime element, Dr. Minnis called for hanging to be carried out, along with a gun detection system and the use of drones to aid the Royal Bahamas Police Force in its work. Dr. Minnis said he is not prepared to sit idly by and allow criminals to continue killing each other without trying with every fiber of his being to stop the carnage.
Despite initially claiming that it was her two daughters who had leases to operate businesses at Bahama, the Attorney General this week backtracked to reveal that in fact it's her husband who got those contracts.
Mrs. Maynard Gibson has revealed that her husband Maxwell Gibson owns the retail jewelry store chain that has been granted storefront leases in Bahama, while rejecting accusations that she has a conflict of interest due to her role as government negotiator for the sold resort. She insisted that she had no interest or control of any business with a stake in the $3.5 billion resort. However, she also said she makes no apologies for her husband having a business venture with Bahama. Mrs. Maynard Gibson's revelation came in a statement released on Sunday, 4 days after she initially said her two daughters, 28 and 30, had leases to operate stores in Bahama. Her initial statement prompted F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis to accuse her of being caught up in an overt conflict of interest. On Sunday, Dr. Minnis went further and called on Mrs. Maynard Gibson to do the honorable thing and resign over the controversy. Mrs. Maynard Gibson on Sunday said Dr. Minnis is merely seeking to manufacture an issue where none exists. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Craig Christie on Thursday refused to respond to questions regarding the Star Bahama Mega Resort amid looming concerns over the future of the $3.5 billion West Bay Street development. Mr. Christie said, quote, "I have a silence now on anything to do with Bahama," as reporters gather to field questions on the resort's deadlock with its general contractor and bankruptcy filing, which has dragged on now for a month and a half.
Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com. Like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242.